I'm just going to walk you through how to get started with the music video, just so you know how to do all the things you need to do. You, of course, can mess around if you want to do it a different way, but this is the easiest way to do it, and I think will provide a good starting place for y'all. Okay, so the first thing you need to do is, of course, import all of your footage in, make your sequence, um, you know, create your project and store it in the correct folder on your hard drive. And you want all of your footage and your audio on your hard drive as well, right? Just our normal things. Okay, so first things first, we're gonna go to our sequences and create a sequence. We're gonna do it in our typical 24 frames per second. And I'm gonna name it music video. Great. And I already have all of my footage in my project bin. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is decide which one of the shots that you want to choose from. And I'm going to say it this way. I would either do all of the shots from the first round that we did and the audio recording from the first round that we did, or do all of the audio and all of the shots from the second round. So I want you to go in and look at the different shots and figure out which ones you like the best and then choose from there. So I have already gone in here and looked at these different shots, and I've decided that even though all of them are beautiful and both of them would make a great choice, I'm going to go ahead and go with our shot 2 and our shot 2 from camera 2 and our master shot 2. That aligns with the audio with this 27 audio, I believe. Let me just double check that. Yeah, it should be 27 audio. So I know I want to bring that one in eventually. Excuse me. So first, I'm going to identify the one I want, and I'm going to drag my master shot in to video 1, line 1. I'm going to keep my settings, and I'm going to scale to frame size. And you can see that my video is in this first track and my audio, my linked audio is in this first track too. Okay, then I'm going to go over to my gimbal shots and I'm going to start dragging those in. So I'm going to get this one and I'm going to drag it onto the video 2 and the audio 2, right? So they're on these separate tracks. And again, I'm going to scale to frame size. And then my last one, I'm going to drag above that one onto the video row 3 and audio row 3. And I'm going to scale to frame size. Okay, great. So we have our footage in here. And now we need our audio track. So I'm going to go over here. I'm going to grab 27 and the audio from 27. Okay, we have a little bit to go here. Not everyone caught all the claps, which is too bad because you are going to use the wave sound of the claps to line up your audio, right? So we can see very distinctly 1, 2, 3, 4. And on this one, we can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I don't think we have audio claps for this one. I'm not seeing. Okay, so that's where you start lining all of these up. And you don't even have to like turn on the sound. I would just start lining them up where you can see the clap marks. And I'm doing that by just making small adjustments and wiggling them in. I'm going to use this tab down here to zoom to get a more precise line. And this process is just a matter of lining them up. So it takes just a little bit of time. Okay, so you can see with our 3 rows audio at the end here, our audio, and then the 2 connected to our gimbal shots, they're pretty much lined up here. You can see that by looking at these audio waves where the claps are. And then for the master, we need to look at a little bit different of audio waves, right? Because we missed the claps here, then we need to adjust it. And so we can see the start of the music here and really the start of the music here. And we can see these like smaller bumps that align with these smaller bumps. And so we're going to drag that over towards the start here and align here as much as we can. And there, seems good. We can play it a little bit. Okay, that seems pretty good. And we can make small adjustments as we go. I'm going to make a little bit of a trim here. Right here. And this is the start of the video, so I'm going to just make a cut through all of these, which if I hold down my shift key and click with holding my razor key, it's going to cut through all of that media. Grab my selection tool and just get rid of all that. Right click and I'll ripple and delete. That brings us all to the same amount. All right, this is pretty crazy right now. Obviously, we just want our good audio, which is this one down here. So I'm going to go ahead and mute these other audio tracks. We want to keep them to help us align our audio in case we need to do something different or make small adjustments later. But everything should be good to go now. Okay, so now you have all this to go on. I would make a small adjustment to this audio by lifting it a little bit up. You can do that way, or of course you can go to audio gain and set the gain to, I would set it to 4. And the important thing is that like when we're watching this, that all of the claps are lining up, the music is synced correctly with the mouth movement, because that's going to be like a really easy tell that things are off, if they're off. So really important to get all of this lined up really nicely before you ever start making any cuts. So if you don't do this part right, then the rest of your video is going to be really hard to edit. So make sure, spend a lot of time aligning all of this and making sure it's really correct. Okay, so once you've done this, you can use, you want to select like the best bits of each part, and decide like what you want to keep and what you don't want to keep. And so a way to do this is we can see our top layer, right? And if we click this little eyeball, we will switch views to this layer. If we toggle off the eyes for both these tracks, we get down to this bottom layer. So for this bottom layer, before you start editing, you're going to want to make sure that you don't want to make any adjustments to like broadly the whole video. We've got a little bit of a tilt that could be changed here. So I'm going to fix that tilt and zoom in. Just getting it to where I want it to be. If I wanted to do any sort of color correction on any of the clips, now is the time I would do it before I start chopping everything up. Okay, so now we have it where I want it. And really, this is the part where you guys get to decide what you're doing and how it's going to look. And so what I would recommend, a good way to do this, is to go through and watch. We know what this shot will look like all the way through, but we don't really know what these shots will look like in detail. And so I'm going to watch it through and select my favorite parts out. I like this part a lot. So I'm going to make a cut, and I'm just going to start getting rid of chunks that I think I like the other view better on. So maybe I want to get a little, maybe I want to start off with the wide view. And I think I want to cut to this clip right as they start clapping. So maybe I'll do this a little bit different. kind of like this. So I'm going to make another cut here. And really you're just making cuts in order to like see through to the other layers. That's very nice zoom. And remember, we're kind of like cutting on different beats. And so I'm going to keep that in mind as I go. So I want a little gap here. And then I get to decide whether I want this, or maybe I want a little bit of this shot. Maybe I want a little bit more of the wide shot here. So I'm going to get rid of a little bit of that. Maybe I want it to start like when they're responding. And then, so we're in the wide shot. Ooh, that's great. You all did fantastic. And maybe I'll over here. I want a little bit more of that one. That's a cool shot. I wonder, it's a little bit unsteady, but I love that shot. Let's try to add a warp stabilizer on there. I'm going to go to my effects panel. I'm going to put warp and see what can be done here. I'm going to reduce this to 2. Great, that saved it. I would also add it to this one too. Just a little bit, no more than 2% on the warp stabilizer. Okay, so you would go through your whole clip doing like that. You're going to discover that on some parts, especially since I'm using number 2, because this was our shot where people could move wherever they want. Most of the time it's good, but there are segments where like obviously you wouldn't use this one, which is totally fine. Like everyone was meant to be everywhere. But it just turned out that this is like the master shot is 90% usable. So I would just make sure that the section I'm in is going to utilize I'm going to utilize other footage except for this master shot in these other 2 categories. So that would look like picking which one I wanted. That's pretty cool. So I like this part I would keep. And I like that part, which means we're going to see what this footage looks like. That looks great. And you can just mess with, you know, and you can just mess with covering footage in the areas that it needs, right? So we needed to cover that spot there, and we did, which is great. And then each camera will have moments where it's unusable and you'll just cover it with the other half. At the end here, it does get a little bit crispy. So I think I heightened it just a little bit too much. See if that does anything. So just make sure we're not peaking too much with our adjustments there. And then I know that they had a little bit of problem with their speaker at this point. And so what you might do is go to your audio track and look at the other audio that we have and see if we can't get a little bit of that in here. Which I'm kind of looking at our different wave patterns and seeing what else could be done here. Okay, so that worked out pretty well putting that clip in. And you can do that too. I just selected the last, I think my playhead is at this 1941, 48, 28. Selecting the end of that and popping it in this section. You can hear her voice go up and then you can go down. I would add just a small default transition here just to cover any small clicks that we hear. That's going to take our better audio from our first version and put it just where we need it in that second version. And the reason that we're not doing it to the whole clip is because then I think we can sync this part really nice, but I think in some of the other parts, when I tried it with the different audio, it got a little bit jazzy. Okay, so my expectation is that you'll edit, with more care than I did in this little tutorial and really think about like what shot and like where you're editing on the beat and what your best shots look like. You could start with, gospel revs text on the top and then like fade to black at the end. That's all up to you. And I'm excited to see what you all create. You did awesome on this. I think they're going to be really happy. And it's really cool that you all like made something that will be useful to a group on campus. Well done.